Hello! Greetings. A little bit of a surprise today, so we'll start things off a little different than usual. We are still working on the prompts. I just wanted to go ahead and give you a sneak peek on what's going on in the background. Getting back over to my playlist because it played tracks out of order. I don't know why it's not doing the continuing playing when I click on the similar songs. So I'm just kind of waiting for this track to finish, and then I'll get it onto the other similar songs. So playlist will be a little bit longer. Hopefully I won't have to tool around with it as much. I'm still on the fence about this, but yeah, you're getting to see a dragon in the middle of MerMay, and that's just because of today is a special day, and I figured I'd take at least a moment to give a shout out to a friend. And so I didn't want to do too weird of a transition. Yeah, so this is sitting at kind of a weird angle for my camera, but I wanted to give you guys kind of a sneak peek behind the scenes. This is a sketch that I've been working on for a bit. This is, twofold surprise. So, one surprise is saying happy birthday to my friend Amanda, and she is the owner of a sales platform called Faye Home. I'm not an affiliate, but I am a moderator or an admin in a couple of her Facebook groups for the platform. So, full disclosure, I'm not making money off of it, but I do want to mention it, and I will actually be opening a shop on that platform at some point. I just need to get off my butt and make some inventory. So there's that. But anyway, this is for a limited edition print. Well, at least it will be for a limited edition print for everybody upgrading this month for the dragon package. You would get a dragon print, and then for those upgrading to the phoenix package, you'll get a phoenix print. Both of these I'm going to do as line work, and this is what I'm doing as far as the sneak peek type of thing. This is just a peek behind the process on how I transfer my designs. I don't own a light box. I see nothing wrong with owning a light box. If you have one, great. In my case, I decided to go ahead and use my tablet input. This is a drawing tablet. I have a digital stylus to go ahead and draw. I actually have Photoshop open in the background right here. And what I do is I just grab a white sheet of paper, I bump up the brightness all the way, and I use this as my light box. So, in doing that, I have this nice new low-tech tape, which is working out well. You can't see it, it's just at the top of the frame. I'm not going to move the camera because here you see the lion's share of what I was going to show you as far as process. This is some nice resume paper from Southworth. Again, not affiliated, just letting you guys know what I'm using in case you're interested in doing something similar. But this is their 100% cotton 24-pound paper. And that way I can just lay that on. I would tape this in place, and that way I can go ahead and just transfer my lines. Another way you can do it, if you don't have a light box, if you prefer, you can go ahead and just draw on the back of your image with graphite or charcoal, whatever you prefer, and then go ahead and put it down on top of your final paper and then trace your design. So you could also do that. But those are two different ways that you can go ahead and transfer designs from a piece of paper, your sketch paper, over to your final paper. The light box technique is going to depend on how thick your paper is for your final, because if you used really thick paper for your initial sketch or for your finished design, a light box is probably not going to do you a lot of good unless it's exceedingly bright. You could also do like tape your design up to a window and use that as a light box if you have a decently sunny or at least a bright kind of overcast day. So as long as you have that going for you. If it's nighttime, then the transfer technique is probably your best bet. But I figure I'd at least say something about a little bit about process, because I think hearing a little bit about process every once in a while is a good thing. I'm just putting my paper away, and I will put my tablet away so we can get started on today. I was thinking I would go ahead and start doing some line work, because this is an ink piece. Both the dragon and the phoenix are both going to be ink pieces. That's why I'm going with the cotton resume paper, because I know it's really nice and smooth for like pointed pen work. But I feel like that would be a disappointment for everybody who tuned in yesterday to go ahead and see about the Derwent sketch and tone. Wait a minute, not sketch and tone, shade and tone mixed media set. So I was tempted to go ahead and break it for Amanda's birthday and the surprise, but I can't do that. Alright, so I'm just moving this out of the way. This is why I talk about like the side of my desk is it's a little weird at times. I'm just going to clatter around some stuff on the desk. So I put this guy away for now. And there goes everything. Nice. I'm not surprised. It's like, what? You want to do something simply and not make a mess? Nah. That can't happen. Alright. Just shove a couple things on my desk out of the way a little. And yeah, that tablet input's by XP Pen. Also, not an affiliate, but you know, I love Wacom. But Wacom, at the time that I was getting this, is a little out of budget. And the XP Pen has been good. I'm not one who relies on pen pressure a whole lot, so I didn't have that to, you know, I didn't need the best of pen pressure sensitivity. I have all these little eraser bits and everything else on my desk snuck up under my cutting board and my hardboard, and that's making me squirrely, so I apologize. Doing a little bit more maintenance than I intend to do live. And then I have all this ink splatter. Yeah, yep. That's my day. So, thank you so much for joining me. We'll go ahead and get started. I have my my mechanical pencil out. Helps if I get our drawing out too, huh? I took it out with me when I left the house thinking I was going to sketch some more, and I did not get to that because I've got the attention span of a gnat sometimes. I was working on other projects. I have a couple things going on in the background, and that just popped off. That's a shame. Pop. That's the thing I don't like about the glue-bound books. It's so easy to go ahead and just snap them off. So now that's going to hang out over here on the side of my desk. And we're gonna work on this. And another shout out for my friend Johnny. Thank you so much for your input on this idea, because I am really excited and looking forward to it. So we'll go ahead and just get started. So yeah, working on an octopus. Alright. And as always, feel free to comment. I'm always happy to answer questions and concerns, anything about process or drawing references, things like that. I do frequently use general references. I do actually have a octopus reference for today. I find references are good to keep you on track for realism. Just to give you vague ideas as far as some lighting, shadow, building up form, things like that. Like, definitely keep looking around in your daily life to get an idea of how light interacts with objects around you, but also, you know, there's nothing wrong with just using the tools that you have at your disposal. So I do want to get a little bit more of the background in real quick. I probably will bring out my ruler to go ahead and straighten up some of these lines, because I'm just sketching it. I don't know, I always feel more comfortable trying to work out like general placement. And then I'll go ahead and sharpen up my lines and clean up edges and things like that. I have a specific image in mind, Sally. Good. That is not even a little bit straight. That's not far enough over on this end. And this one is going pretty firm to the base shape and design of this alley. Freehand winging it. And one thing I really do like about Film Noir is the way they do the lighting. You have this really neat, like, everything's kind of like silhouetted, and then you just have this like rim lighting just helping to go ahead and define shapes. I think that was really attractive to me when I saw that this is Film Noir. Though I am kind of breaking that prompt with what I'm planning, which actually I had not considered where that's going to go. That's, to me, it's just gotta go across the top. So we're gonna do some lettering on this one. This will be a little bit weird compared to the rest of the series. Just grabbing my Octopus reference. So just a quick message out to the other half. Daughter will be back up here shortly. And hopping over to Twitch. Alright, and I got lucky today. The little one is napping, so they go a little bit easier than yesterday, at least. So I'll just have it off camera here. I found this octopus on Unsplash. I can go ahead and link them in the description on YouTube, which I then copy and paste over to Twitch after the stream. So if you guys are interested in that, I just flipped it because I wanted the octopus to be looking more angled this way. Let's see. All this into frame. It's so weird what distortion happens when you're dealing with photography lenses. So it's like this paper is square, but it's gonna look slightly bowed in the middle and at the top because of lens distortion. Such a weird thing. But yeah, so I want this guy to be pretty massive in the frame, so because he's right up here in front of us. Everything else I want to push far behind in the background. I'm just doing a general outline for him. I want him to be far enough away that we could clearly see a body. Somewhere around there. Seems like the playlist has stopped, so just doing a quick check. I really don't want to be fiddling around with this thing. Yeah, it decided to stop. It's like, okay, you get the save songs or you don't. Like, and not the save song, the similar songs or you don't. Like, okay. Weirdness. Alright. I'm not trying to do too much of the top of his head just because there's going to be a rather sizable fedora there. Get plenty of room for his eyes before we do this. Which means this probably needs to be out a little further. The rest of his shape. Here instead. Alright. Let's see how far I can get with all of this. There's, in general, just subtle adjustment here where stuff folds in and then comes out. I didn't go ahead and print the reference, even though you absolutely could, if you want to go ahead and spend a lot of time and do it exact. Oh, sorry, I tried to get my inline mute, and I missed it. I got my volume instead. So I turned on the background music for myself, and you guys got to hear a nice loud sneeze, and I'm sorry about that. Arms are kind of folded up here. Do have some tentacles going on. I'm deciding how I want to handle that. I don't know how much I'm going to do with the tentacles. So let's just kind of do the general fold. Pretty well. But yeah, I'm not doing a whole lot of detail here because most of this is going to be covered with the fedora. Which I should go ahead and block in. Yeah, because every octopus needs to wear a fedora. Tip over one brow a bit. Edge of the brim coming back here. And then bring it back around. Should go ahead and this, especially since I'm doing line work later, while doing washes, which before I dive into the washes, what I'll do is I'll show you what happens if we try to erase any of the Derwent. I'm gonna keep messing up between shade. I think it's shade and tone. I don't have the box on my desk. I already moved it. So I keep thinking sketch and tone. I was like, that's shade and tone. Let's do these arcs a little bit better. Also my hand down. Part of that dip of the front of the hat here. This is just a general line to indicate lighting for me. So like this would be in the broader light, this would be mostly in shadow. So I'll know to go ahead and taper off the wash there. Let's see, we have the bottom stripe. I don't know what you call that, the hat band maybe? Make the hat band a little bit bigger. Very Humphrey Bogart, Maltese Falcon. Blech. I can English. Actually, this hat looks a little short. Alright, so we have Octopus. Let's give him some facial features. I'm going to bend the reference a little bit because I want this eye to be a little bit more visible than it is. So I'm just going to move this section over just a touch. So we can go ahead and develop where the eye sits, and this is a decent bit of shadow. There would be extra shadow over here anyway because of the fedora casting that shadow. Well, let me have this light. Maybe probably some light would be from over here. So I'm trying to create some general indication for shadow. Some light here. More of this would be in the dark and just kind of falling away. Sorry. Pull out some of this. This line for the alleyway. Definitely a very silly take on the noir scene, which brings me back to the title. So yeah, I want to thank my friend Johnny again because he helped me out with the title. I had some just vague notions of where I wanted to go with it. I definitely wanted to go a little bit on the cheesy side, and he was able to knock it out of the park. It does sound like something that you would have seen in the 40s, which I should actually double check and make sure it's not actually a pulp novel. I don't want somebody getting upset at me for using their novel name when these were ideas that were just kind of spitballed at for a bit yesterday. Over. Right, so yeah, P.I. Pulpo presents High Tide Homicide. That sounds very 40s. So I'm even though Film Noir is the prompt, because I'm doing this on paper and it's not actually film. Maybe it's a movie poster. Maybe it's the title for the movie poster, but I don't have names of stars, so down here is a little bit plain. I could probably just throw in some text for some fake actors, just or even some real actors. We'll put like Cary Grant in here, Humphrey Bogart. Who else? No, I'm trying to remember any female actresses from the 40s, and I'm suddenly blank. Yeah, I'll just keep musing on it a bit. I do want to put a tentacle somewhere. Maybe I should do a magnifying glass. It's a suggestion yesterday from Rowdy Robbie. This needs to go further off. The same length. So just go off the edge. Alright, and eyeball. The PI pulpo comes in because pulpo is Spanish for octopus, which I have learned because my other half likes to have canned octopus every so often, and because of the print novels back then being called pulps, it just seemed perfect. It's a bit darker here towards the front. And a little recess for the whole face. I have not looked at an octopus for this long ever. Just throwing in some shadows here because I need to know where the darkest ones are. I should see what a closer image shows for the eye detail. I'm really kind of treading water there. I'm making sure it's going to be able to pop when I'm doing such a limited palette for this. I'm just going to kind of copy over what I see on this eye a little bit because, like I said, I changed the angle of this. It's not quite a 3/4 view, but I'm just adding a little bit more shadow. Comes up here. Go ahead and get to the eye socket, the eyes. There's kind of like 3 tones here. It's going to be interesting. I'll pull some of the graphite up because I feel like that's getting too dark and that's going to be harder for me to see those for when I line that with ink later. Great, and another light down here, kind of fading, nothing. Leave that here. I want that to be. This will be probably like a mid-gray. I don't want it to be the strongest silhouette on here. Just some wall texture, lots of shadow. A lot of this will probably just be laying in some mass tones, like just slapping on some color, and then making sure that we have decent highlights. Yeah, that's right, lettering. Alright. Let's get into lettering. We're already a half hour in. Fine. The downside for me right this moment is having used phone for my reference, because I keep getting distracted seeing notifications popping up for stuff. There's some stairs far down here. I don't know what film this was from, but quite honestly, I am largely parroting that staircase in this alleyway from this reference. To me, the main thing was go ahead and to create something a little cheesy, a little bit authentic though. Not everything is perfectly placed. I'm actually missing a lot of information. This guy is in the way. I'll just make stuff up. Okay, we're already half hour in. I don't want to start slapping down some ink. Well, not ink. He can slap down some ink, not me. I will probably add a bit more to this too. Let's see, should I do... I feel like if I put the tentacle in, I'm going to have to do all of those suckers. That's where I'm kind of hesitating, because that's a lot of detail. It's going to be a lot of time. And while I definitely enjoy the detail, and I don't mind putting the time in, I'm wondering, what do you guys think? What do you feel about all of that? And as I'm yammering on about that, I'm sitting here penciling in a bunch of detail. The side view of these suckers that managed to get picked up in this reference. A little bit of a hold there, shadow over here, casting over that. Alright, and it stopped again because that's the end of that little similar song section. And we already listened to this earlier, but yeah, we'll go on with it. I do feel like I'm a little bit of a standstill there. It is, you know, it is something that I really love. I love to see lots of details in pen and ink. That's something that's always like visually stunning to me. But I'm also like trying to get on with the details, and that way you guys can see more stuff going on and get caught up on the other prompts. I'm trying to feel out like a happy medium for that. I feel like that's already better. But then I also feel like I need, like, what's going on down here? Are there legs? What are we seeing? Maybe I should position him a little bit lower. I don't know. Let's see. I'll just throw a landing is over there and maybe a door, which we can't see. I moved around stuff a lot in this. I didn't do stuff to scale. It's probably over here, actually. The image that I'm using is much wider, so a lot of stuff is getting truncated, and I'm not trying to do everything perfect. These are straight. Okay, everything else getting to be lost in details by this point, just heavy fog. So some light lines here just kind of indicate, you know, that everything goes into a wash and just kind of vanishes. Random light source. Okay, the light coming from it. Perhaps some of that graphite. And yes, I changed the track in the middle. Great. Looks good so far. Wow, it is a bit overcast today. And just getting distracted by light quality in the room that I'm sitting in. Oh yeah, body. I don't think I hadn't considered too much. Alright, so just for general proportion for... I don't know if I'm going to add... I don't know if I'm going to add blood or not. I'm still on the fence about that. Feeling this being pretty monochromatic, actually. Sloppy little shoes. So when you guys were joining me for MerMay. Did you have any idea that you'd be seeing an octopus with a fedora? I'm genuinely curious. Is this too cheesy? Have I gone too far with it? And there you go, thumb check. Thumbs always towards the head. So with the up here, those are definitely his feet. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so I curved the hands the wrong way. Don't know why I have his feet up. I mean, I suppose they could be the heels, but it's not how my brain pictures them. It's like those are toes and shoes. Yeah, so I need to adjust the hands. Since you're not hands facing down, I need hands that are palm up. And I hope this is somewhat correct. Like, where's my friend Brian when I need him? I had a friend I used to work with who was a squiddy. So we have kind of a little V shape, and that would be a dark blue. I don't know how I'll portray that. I might leave this very monochromatic. I'm kind of liking the idea of the octopus in purple. I was thinking to have the hat laying in the alley, but I kind of like it being kind of tossed over the eyes. Or at least over the top of the head. I don't know, maybe he was shot and then the killer just put it there. And this is why I mark my videos as not for children, because I come up with some random stuff. Alright, so how's this hand going? Hand flat, fingers curved. They are very much so the mitten approach, because you wouldn't see a lot of detail at this scale. And then this one should be a little lower down. This arm seems a little more outstretched than the other. Alright, I have this in pretty good rough shape. And I'm looking at the time, I'm like, wow, I spent another 15 minutes on that. I feel like I got nowhere. I think sometimes I do too much detail, and I worry about how quickly I work. Okay, so I should have been using the graphic pencil. Old habits. Yeah, that's something I would have preferred to do, so I could get a better feel for that. Because that 3B didn't seem to smudge very much, and that is a good thing. And I really need to do lettering before I'm really worried about the I'm really worried about coloring. I'm trying not to make this all about sketch today. Spell. Oops, if I can spell, I did the same mistake twice. You know, I'm gonna say F it. I'm not going to do the text here. I have plenty of space to go ahead and just pop that in up here, taking up a broad bit of room, and it gives me an excuse to go ahead and break out my gouache. So I will break out gouache for the lettering. That way I don't have to fuss with placement and stuff today. We can get right into the ink work, because I don't want to be taking up all my time on this. So primarily, I want to go in here with the Derwent set, and which also reminds me, here's our swatches from yesterday. I'm gonna have a good shot at erasing them, because that might be helpful for you to know. Where's my list? This is the tinted charcoal in Burnt Earth. That erases pretty easily. This is the Inktense in Sepia ink. I'm not going to try to go all the way back to white. I'm just going to show you, like, does it erase? Does it stay put? That's kind of where I'm at. Of course, this quality could go ahead and vary depending on the paper that you use. This is a ridiculously cheap paper. So that means it probably has more gelatin sizing than a lot of other papers. So, for example, on like a cotton paper, I've had issues lifting raw sienna to like go back to paper white on a completely cotton paper. So just take this test with a grain of salt. Like, you might not be able to lift this much if you're using a better quality paper. But here on Cheap Paper World, which I like to use for my swatches, just getting into meeting a paint. Oh wow, it even lifts up the white. I can see a little line of this having changed tone. So yeah, that's a thing. Even the black. Which, I mean, if you're trying to do like a faded, like a highlight, trying to just recover a little bit of that, yeah, break out your eraser. If you use something that's like a cheaper paper that has a lot of gelatin in it, apparently you're going to be able to go ahead and get back some of your highlights, which is great for like softer techniques like velvet. Like how this is kind of faded would be perfect for velvet. So I don't know if this is going to work on the paper that I'm currently using for the Strathmore, the tone mixed medias. Wow, that is crazy. I never thought to go ahead and test this on other swatches. I'm kind of curious what that looks like, if that's going to lift because of the like the inks that I used. But yeah, neat experiment. All right. So now that I have more eraser junk all over my desk. Yeah, very, very, very neat. I didn't even go into telling you all the colors because like it worked on all of them. I guess to a slightly lesser degree, this Inktense Sepia didn't seem to lift as much or quite as readily. Same thing with the Inktense Black. It's still there, but it's a slightly subtle, like a less bonk you over the head with the contrast type of result. I'm going to go ahead and clean off my eraser a little bit. Sometimes I really miss wearing jeans for this moment. It's just so much easier to do. Just blam. Erase it with your jeans. But yeah, that works pretty good. I keep a piece of paper somewhere off in the background. But yeah, I'm glad I know. I'm glad I thought about it just because, you know, graphite and charcoal both tend to erase no matter what formula. So that was a surprise. Oh, sorry about my yawn. Let's go in. We're just going to blob stuff in. I'm going with my cheap number 8 round. I'm gonna hit this some of the largest bits of contrast, I think. Let's see. I'm kind of feeling the graphite, actually. I'm just grabbing some of that graphite, make a little puddle of it. I have it a bit on the thin side. You know what? I can show you. I think even though I'm a lefty, I can show you where the graphite is at. It's a little bit thin. And that way I can go ahead and do kind of like this haze back here. Water. Just bring it around. And because this is the graphite, it should lift no problem, even on this paper. Get this up to the top. Fade off. And bring it down here. Pretty loose with the water. A little blot. I want to soften the edges. I'm not trying to go really heavy with anything right now. Alright, and come to the foreground. We'll go a little darker over here. I'm getting sloppy with this wash because I know I'm going to be able to lift out most of it wherever I need to. Soften this edge just a touch. Just slap the water down. I'm probably going to have some back runs in this wash, and you know what, that's okay. I'm not worried about that. This is going to leave me a weird line. I don't want to futz with it though. Still just a touch of the graphite left on the brush. Just kind of running it into the background here. Rinse, soften that edge. There's still kind of like an atmospheric thing going on up here at the top. I want to grab those edges, pop down a little bit more. Right. If there's any traces of graphite, that's fine. Just kind of have that off into the background a bit. I am going to do highlights real quick while we're back here. There's not a whole lot. But I'll do that spot, or that bubble. In here, or light up here. Let's just go ahead and get that a little lighter than the paper is. I didn't come in here with a lot of water, so I went back. Water, a little more pigment. Let's just pop that in. We'll see how much paint I can slap on this thing in like 5 minutes or so. I might get a little bit more time. It depends on if the baby's sleeping. I'm gonna leave this kind of thick. I also need enough water for me to pull up more pigment. Give me some opacity. I'm being impatient. Do. Will you pop the little air bubbles? Thank you. Oh, adjust the shape a little bit. A little bit. And the soundtrack is edited. Alright. Do. That's going. There is kind of like a little bit more like an atmospheric white tone coming from up here, but I think I'm going to go into that with the gray and then lighten it further later, maybe. I would really want to pop in the darkest of darks. So that's kind of where I'm sitting at. Let's get gritty. Grabbing a little bit the sepia. This is actually the sepia ink by Inkfence. A little gritty over here. This is getting closer to us. I want this to be a slightly warmer tone. And apply the texture of the bricks later. Just do that with the eraser, since that might go a little bit better. I know this paper's not super wet. I should have pre-wet the paper up here. I'm just going to re-wet everything. We're just gonna muddle my mixture. See how everything re-wets. Most of this did lift and re-wet pretty well. You can see a little bit of a line over here. I'm kind of scrubbing at it a little more. This is kind of like the what not to do. Realistically, you should go ahead and make up like a nice puddle for your mixture. That way you can keep carrying it along, doing what you need to do with it. Instead, I'm just kind of going back in the water, getting really sloppy with it. I kind of like some of the unexpected tones that you see with it. I do want this to start getting cooler, so I'm just letting this taper off as we go back. Much more over here, just to get a similar tone. Great. So probably about here, I'm gonna come back in with a cooler tone. Probably comparatively the burnt earth is a little bit cooler, but it's also like a similar value. I'm going to make a nice little puddle of that over here. I know this one takes a minute to go ahead and re-wet and get a good mass tone. Yeah, the tinted charcoal ones, if you need a good bit of it, like just pre-wet them. It's a pretty tone. and I like that it is a nice... It is still on the warm side, but it's cooler than the sepia ink, so that's why I'm grabbing it. They're in the brush. Take those out when I can. There's some varying light over here. Carry it up. This edge is a little dark. I'm just going to fade this right into the edge of that graphite. I'm going to grab a little bit more pigment for it for up here. I want that to come down just a touch. You can play and blend a little bit as that goes cooler into the background. Alright. Could be a little more pigment right there. This section's still a little bit wet. Alright, so we got some depth going up top. I want to do the same for this wall over here. This wall is largely in shadow. We'll go ahead and start off with the sepia ink for the foreground again. Just a little bit of water. I love these, the tone of this pad, but glue binding, man. Alright, so I'm grabbing a little bit of water. Mix that right in. I still barely had enough to finish this section. I know I didn't break out my ruler at all to go ahead and straighten up some of my lines, so this might be a bit rough, but I also want to go ahead and try to keep this within, you know, getting caught up on the prompts here. Okay, I'm gonna have to work a little harder at breaking these lines. I'll let this wash go a little dry. I should have pre-wet. That's alright. We'll make a lot of this disappear when I go in and put in bits of maybe a brick texture. I'll go ahead and start lifting that out with the eraser since we know that that should work. I just want to grab this edge. Soften this edge at all. Wherever it'll let me. And kind of pre-wet for the cooler color that we're doing next. I'm still waiting for this area to dry a little bit more before I pop in the color for the light itself. With that is like a really nice dark. That'll really add some depth to the scene. Just give you a darker focal. Grab a little bit more of that sepia ink here. Definitely in the school of this is not what you don't do. Try to blend that out a little bit. This pigment feels a bit granular as far as how it's moving on the paper. So this would probably look a lot more impressive on like a cold press. Though I am a big fan of hot press. I like the smoothness for pencil work and for doing like pen techniques. Just here. And this is still quite dark up to this edge, but it is getting lighter, a bit cooler, so I'll grab some of that burnt earth for that. I have a bit of that puddle here. I'm just gonna grab more, get that mass tone up a little more. Anyway, this area is kind of receding into the background a little bit. Even though this is a really similar tone, it is just different enough. So like the hue is the same, but the temperature of it is just a little bit cooler. That's going to help create that optical illusion that this is getting further away, because as things recede into the background, they have a bit less, a bit of a cooler tone and a bit less detail. So. So having it get a little bit lighter towards the top here. A little darker up here. Well, it's not up here. That's quite so much. Do those little water, not water bubbles, but little air bubbles when you're painting, like, drive you nuts too? Like, I'm curious, is it just me? In the reference, there's a window on this wall, but maybe I'll add it. I'm not sure. Great. These boxes are really dark. They have just a little pop of highlight on them. I'm gonna just leave that the tone of the paper, because I don't want them to be the brightest thing back here. Oh, and here we are. We're already 7 minutes over. Oh man. Oh, you know what? I don't want sepia ink. I'm grabbing it because it re-wets so nice. This spot should still be burnt earth. It's a little bit cooler. Oh, and in my brain, I see this scene as mostly warm. I don't know. Yeah, like this edge just really blends in the wall. And just get the little highlight from the top. This edge should be lighter. I'm just gonna slap a bunch of water down, re-wet it, grab the pigment and push it that way. I'm trying to work red up to the edge. The nice thing about granulating paints, it's a little easier to do that. Just cut this up this way a little more. And then let it relax a little bit after it's dark enough. Alright, I can go ahead and settle how it wants. I want to make sure that enough pigment is getting over here before any of it settles back over. Great. You have some degree of like water on the ground. Kinda. looking forward to getting the text on here finished in place. I'm kind of pushing it. Let me know in the comments. What do you think I should do? You think I should keep working on this on screen? Or work on it off screen? How much info are you getting into? That's kind of my time. I gotta go do family stuff. And painting stuff is fun. That's always stuff, family stuff. Alright. Yeah, this area gets quite a bit darker too. And I don't quite have that all in place. This will probably be more of the burned earth. Just kind of trying to get to where I could. So I do like it. This is a fun set so far already. And just, I wish I'd gotten a little bit further in blocking this in than I had. I am like halfway tempted to go ahead and just pop this little block out of its thing and like find like an ink stone. I used to have a really pretty set of ink sticks. Unfortunately, been lost in the moves, but my friend Brian got me that for a present. It was really, really satisfying to just grind the ink stick against the stone. And go ahead and make ink. Wonderful practice. You know, maybe if I get into another ink challenge, maybe that'll be my splurgy thing for that period of time. Yeah. So there's that. I want to bring the wash this way. I really gotta stop messing with this though. Like, can I quickly do this? Try. Lots of pigment. And this is kind of the thing that I don't like about, you know, having so many unfinished things going on in the background. I'm going to just soften this edge because I don't think I have time to go ahead and do this as a whole wash. I'd rather soften it off and I can just add to it later. Yeah, that wound up really granular. So right now I'm just drying my brush this time. And just rub the edge. Try not to get our sailor's hand, even though honestly he's probably darker shadows than that. Not that. I was trying to add a little bit more contrast over here. There should be more contrast over here. Great. I really do need to go though. I'm just gonna blot the tops of this edge. Add that into being enough. And adding the brick texture later with the eraser should be good enough. That fade off. Because these are, this is a granulating color and I'm bumping into that other section of the wash, it is going to be a little bit blocky, and I don't want to fiddle with it too much and cause it to settle wrong. I feel like this decided to settle too much here. And it's always rough adding a secondary wash with the granulating pigment. They do like to lift a lot. I'm gonna leave this where I'm at for the moment. And I'm gonna think on the next steps. I don't know if I want to bring in more of the well, I haven't used it yet. I don't know if I want to bring in the Storm Gray pastel shade, because that's pretty opaque. And I, in general, try to avoid the very opaque pigments. Oh, I put my hand in this wash. That's awesome. Well, I'm not helping myself out, am I? It's been, it has been fun. I'll go ahead and actually I'll probably add to that texture. We'll probably try to make that intentional later. This bottom part of the wall could be darker too, so odds are that that part of the wash will be hiding. I might go ahead and lay in subsequent layers. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I have plenty of other projects that need some attention, as well as some family attention. School stuff is important, so it'll be fun. Anyways, so I'm going to leave today on the note of tomorrow could be a mixed bag. Tomorrow could be more of the day 8 prompt, getting more washes in, some more tone and shade. Or it may be that I'll move back to days 5 and 6, where I have some rough ideas, some just general ink washes that were laid in, and get into the sketching for that. So if anybody decides to share an opinion, commenting on the videos, let me know, because I'm genuinely grateful to have any criticism, comments, questions. Happy to see that. And just to have a better idea as far as where do we go from here. I am liking that, you know, in this short period of time, we have a decent idea as far as some just general depth getting into the scene. I'm kind of a 50-50 on, do I want to do that gray, or do I want this to be a little less opaque and stick with the translucent washes? So that's just where my brain is at, because I'm working from black and white, but I'm doing this on toned paper, so a little bit of a push and pull there. But I like our PI Pulpo. This has been a fun little diversion. It's good to do some silliness, even though it's in a serious manner. I think the whole film noir aspect to it. So, we'll see. We'll see where it gets to. Yeah, I'll just muse on it a bit tonight, and I'll go ahead and update the stream title, so that way you know if you're interested or not, and we'll work from there. Yeah, thanks so much for joining me today. You know, whether you're new or old, I love that you've decided to hop on and be into the strange world that sometimes my brain decides to go. As always, keep painting and drawing and inking, kind of a little bit of everything today. So, thanks again, and see you tomorrow.